Welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We have Bryant Falconer, co-host extraordinaire in the studio. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good.
Hey, you know what? Take a compliment. Don't sit there and argue. Just take it. It's a compliment.
I'm not going there with you.
I don't ask you to go there. Just say thank you.
Okay.
It ain't that hard. Yeah, see there? Okay. Oh, man, you kill me sometimes.
Okay.
So, hey, well, let's tell everybody what we're smoking.
I am smoking an Alec Bradley Tempest Nicaragua.
That's something different for you.
Yes.
How is it?
It's good. I'm trying it.
I've had those, but it's been a country mile of a month ago. And
what the hell is a country mile of a month?
That means a long time. So I remember they were good, and I don't know why I don't ever pick one of those up. It's just one of those where it's like, you know, you're just
walking. Yeah. You walk it. And then
you're waiting for the one that speaks to you.
That acting like a kid. Oh.
Yeah. When I see that one, I'm like, oh, well, I got to get two of those. And then I walk around for that to happen again.
And then,
isn't that how it happens for you?
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
And so I miss out on some of those cigars that I have smoked before, and I really think they're really good sticks.
It's a good stick.
So I'm smoking the AJ Fernandez New World Cameroon box press torpedo.
Damn. You see, it had a real strategic name. New World.
Hey, we got some news coming up on the second half of the show.
Yes, sir.
There's some AJ news in there that I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
So, since I'm smoking AJ, it made me think of that.
It made you think I just don't set the news on fire.
Right. Happens more often
it's
than
hot,
you think.
hot off the presses.
It's hot in here.
Oh, my. No.
So
the air conditioners are rolling. We don't want Larry to get any thoughts over there.
True. So how's your week been, man?
Man, it's been blessed, man. Blessed. Got to see my grandbaby this weekend.
Oh, nice, man.
Went down there. My son and his fiance came into town, and I got to spend. I took him to breakfast, and we were there for 2 hours. She slept for an hour and 50 minutes. We getting ready to leave. She woke up and looked at me. I said, "You something else." Yep. I'm like, you something else, man. I said, you slept an hour and 50 minutes. And then 10 minutes before we get ready to leave, she opened her eyes.
Hello.
Like,
Goodbye.
I'm here. Good night. I was like, wow.
That's
but it
cool,
was good,
man.
It was.
I assume you held her.
No, she was asleep.
You can't hold a sleeping baby?
No, I'm not going to hold a sleeping baby.
Are you serious?
Dude,
Come on.
I'm scared. They're too fragile, man. When they were my kids,
Dude,
I walk.
You can hold them up by one leg.
Dude, I used to run around with them like they were footballs. They fit right there. Now that ain't my child. That's my grandchild.
But they're still the same durability.
Nah, I don't think that.
I do. But when they get to be 15, they're no longer durable.
They're not durable anymore.
Not like when we were in. Anyway.
You had to think about
Sounds
that.
like a good week, man.
It was, man. It truly was.
I also had an amazing week.
An amazing
week.
Was it phenomenal?
It was times 2.
Damn.
Phenomenal.
Damn, okay.
So
I need to hear this.
Me and some buddies, old buddies, got an Airbnb south of town.
Mm-hmm.
We went out there and we played poker, smoked cigars, and drank bourbon for 3 days.
Y'all made it home? Well, evidently you're here.
Well, the fourth day, we checked out at like noon. It was perfect.
Gotcha. Noon checkout.
I never did the Airbnb before. Have you?
Nope, never.
Dude, forget hotels. From now on, Airbnb is where it's at. Everything you need is right there.
True. So, I mean, the experience. Talk to me about the experience.
Well, it was cool, man, because, I never did it before. I thought it would be like going to a house that's basically like a hotel. I get there, dude. I mean, they got seasonings, they got utensils, they got foil, they got coffee, they got a coffee maker. I mean, and I know these are like people who go to Airbnbs go, oh, well, that's how they all are. Well, I've never been to one before.
Me neither.
They didn't. I mean, they had everything that I could have needed. It was awesome, man. And the back porch covered patio with a big glass round table was where we played cards at.
See.
And the weather this week was awesome.
Yeah, that is true.
Thursday, the high was 72.
Yeah, and then it got a little bit warmer.
and then it got cooler.
Yeah.
It was nice. So anyway, that was my week. I was on vacation, going back to
like
work.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. It was good. It was good to get out there and get away and relax.
And where was the Airbnb?
This was out there between Tuscola and Buffalo Gap, up on top of one of the mesas.
Oh,
and you're on like 15 acres, so there's no people.
Nobody.
You're just out there by yourself enjoying.
Well, I was just in the neighborhood. Liar. Liar. We are the neighborhood.
Right.
Wow.
It was awesome, man.
I can see that. I'm going to try that.
You know, it was it's 4 guys staying, so it was like breakfast was eggs and sausage and bacon and tortillas.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Nothing extravagant.
Nothing
it's just
fancy. We're eating man food.
Man food.
So, anyway, it was a lot of fun. Hey, well, let's coming up a little bit later. Oh, you know what? Let's back up. If you haven't lit a cigar up yet, this would be a good time for you to go ahead and light one up.
Perfect time.
Enjoy one with us. Send me an email. Tell me what you're smoking during the show.
Ah, that's good.
So
you start seeing what people are actually smoking, listening to us.
Yeah.
Now,
because they get to hear what we're smoking.
Make it legal in Texas.
Yeah, whatever, man. You know me, personal right.
Yeah,
I don't. Well, yeah. I mean, don't. I guess you would say don't incriminate yourself.
Don't incriminate yourself. There you go.
So
plead the fifth. Plead the fifth.
But yeah, send us an email. Tell us what you're smoking during the show. But let's get into our sponsors right quick.
Most
we have
definitely.
Case Elegance, which we had them on the show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and love those guys. Did I show you? I got my bag.
The tote.
I ordered the tote. It came in and I used it. It came in the day I packed up to go out to my trip. Oh,
I'm
nice.
mad.
What? You can order one just as easy as I can order one.
You remember, Luke, when we first got Case Elegance, how he talked about them? Man purse. It's a purse. It's a purse. Now, we educated him
now
on it.
You still call it a tote. I call it a man bag. It's a bag, and I'm a man.
He said a merce.
Hey, Luke saw the bag.
The tote.
Yeah. All right, the tote.
All right, bro.
Anyway, let me tell you something. That bag is
the tote.
badass.
It's badass. I'm looking at him and can tell it. I got to get mine now.
After the show, I'm gonna bring it back just so you can see.
Did you get your initials and stuff on it?
I didn't. I don't care about that.
Why not? Use our code.
Cigar Talk.
Yes.
Yeah, if you order anything from them and use Cigar Talk, you get a discount, free monogram.
Yes.
So make sure you go by their website. They're in the show notes. There's a link for them. But the leather man bag is just one of the many badass man stuff they carry. They have watch boxes. If you're a watch wearer collector,
cases.
Yeah, cases. Watch cases. Sorry.
You know I'm a watchman, so.
And then they have humidors. Have you seasoned yours
Yes,
yet?
mine is seasoned.
Dude, how easy was it?
All you had to do was follow directions.
Right. They take all the guesswork.
All of it.
I mean, because let's talk about that for a minute. When you were seasoning your first humidor.
Oh, Lord.
You don't know what you're doing.
I destroyed that thing.
And it's like, and every time you do something, you wait 24 hours and it doesn't work and you're right back where you started. You know what I mean? So.
And it makes you angry and you're looking like.
Because you don't know what you're doing.
I'm like, why won't this work?
Hey, and then what happens when you finally get it right? It doesn't change for so long that by the time it needs help again, you forgot how to do it.
Yep.
So
like, what am I supposed to do now? Is it distilled or what water?
And I gotta say that freaking humidor you got, that Army Green humidor, that's badass.
For a badass dude, I'm Army, 100%. It looks good. It acts good. It works good. It's going to hold those good sticks.
You know, just because you were in the service is why I decided to let you have your choice. I was like, you know what? Got to give it up for him.
Luke, you hear this, man?
What?
Do you hear this?
I'm just saying.
You remember? See, all that was off camera and off mic, so I have no proof of what actually. Look at he looking up like what? What actually happened?
I didn't say that to you.
What?
I've thought that to myself. I never said it out loud.
This is not the post show, so I can't say what.
That's right. So you say thank you.
Thank you. No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, look in the show notes. Go down to the Case Elegance website. Check out all the man stuff they got. You will not regret it. Use the code Cigar Talk.
Cigar Talk.
I put it all one word, no spaces.
Yes.
Got it? And then let's talk about Mcdonald cigars. Dude, let me tell you something. On this little weekend trip I went on,
Yes, sir.
Tim was like ecstatic. I gave him several medallions, so you know. And then he smoked another one I'll tell you about in a little bit. But my cousin smoked a La Crema.
Good stick.
Yeah. And then I think Jeff smoked at least 2 or 3 between the two of those. Loved them. You know, they're like, dude, the drawness is perfect.
The taste is it's delicious. Yes.
Yeah. And they're both becoming ambassadors. Tim already was one.
Ah, that is cool.
So,
man.
if you guys don't know, and I don't know how you wouldn't know, but McAuliffe has an ambassador program with almost 10,000 strong.
That's so.
And you'll get a challenge coin. Look in the show notes, click on the link, go over there, and you can sign up to be an ambassador.
Yes, sir.
You get all kinds of benefits, whether it be at a cigar event, if it's stuff that's coming out first, if it's just being part of the community, you get a challenge coin with your own number on it.
Certificate.
So go down the show notes, click on the McAuliffe link, and you can become an ambassador.
And it's free.
Right, it's free. And then we have Viva La Vida, which is the other stick that Tim got to smoke. And you know what he smoked?
Which one, the Jester?
Club 500.
Yes!
I picked it out for him.
Yes!
He was like, if I'm going to smoke a Viva La Vida, which one do you recommend? And I was like, Club 500, baby. All day.
We was talking about that today at the Leaf. How Jay used to try to sneak to spread them out. He put like half a box out there, and I said I still walk in there and take that box and walk out. He's like, yeah, and I tell you, just take the sticks, and we put the box back in there. It didn't bother me, man.
Like,
I didn't care
whether there's 5 or 10.
I'm taking them.
Yeah,
I'm taking them all,
and I'm taking the box.
Yes, but the Club 500 is a knockout stick.
Yeah. I mean, all the Viva La Vidas, that blend, the construction,
they didn't play.
The beauty of the cigar.
Oh,
it's a complete package.
Man. Come on.
So if you haven't had Viva La Vida, hit up your local shop. And if you guys don't have the opportunity at your local shop, our next sponsor, which is The Leaf, at 1166 North 2nd.
Hey, he got it.
Yeah, that's right. It's not 11. But anyway, 1166 North 2nd. If you're within 50 miles of Abilene, you got to swing by The Leaf. There's a good chance you'll see me or Bryant there. You'll see Larry there. You'll see Ed there, even though he doesn't smoke. And then you got great coffee. Dude, the coffee there is, I mean, dude, I got coffee for Tim and Jeff and Mark, and they were like, wow.
What is this? Where'd you get it?
Yeah.
I
was like, this is the Leaf coffee.
This is real coffee. This is delectable coffee. This is not Folgers.
Yes. No, it's better than any other coffee place in this town.
Tell the truth, Tell the truth.
Anyway, if you're in the neighborhood, swing by. They have a huge humidor, 24 foot by 150,000 feet.
Because that's the way it looks.
When you look down that corridor.
And then they got mirrors at the back, so that makes it look like it's forever.
Tim was blown away when he walked in this humidor. You know, he lives in Lubbock.
Yeah.
They don't have a humidor. I mean, they have some good humidors up there, but not the, what is it, the Eiffel Tower of
say the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, Taj Mahal. So, and then you got the Havana room in the back for the members. Dude, and it's cheap to be a member. You get to go back, hang out, watch.
And you get perks for being a member, too.
Absolutely. You get a discount when you get cigars. So, the other thing is, if you would like to try Viva La Vida cigars or McAuliffe cigars,
tell them.
They have them both
there.
So you call them up, they'll get you an order shipped right out.
Same day.
Jay doesn't mess around with the shipping.
Same
and
day.
They come with a Bovetta pack.
Yes, it does.
I mean, dude, he's knocking it out of the park every time.
He ain't playing the game with you.
So anyway, man, that's going to wrap up our sponsor segment. Let's run over to the Pick Six.
Pick Six. You going first with me?
You know you are.
I wonder why.
Wonder.
No, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Okay, we're going to start with my pick 6 this week. Going in no specific order. Camacho Criollo, which is the yellow band.
Okay.
Good stick, man.
I hadn't had which one is that again?
The Criollo.
From Camacho?
Yes, from Camacho.
Is that got the scorpion tail?
Nope.
Okay, so it's the original. Well, after Davidoff bought them out. But I'm pretty sure that has the maybe the scorpions on the back.
Maybe it's on the back. I didn't see the back of it. I pulled the label. I smoked it to the label and snatched the label off.
Nice.
And finished it down. The next one is going to be the L'Aurora Corojo.
Great stick. Dude, coffee stick all day.
Yes.
All day. If you got a day off or a light day at work and you can smoke cigars and drink coffee all day, that stick needs to be in the rotation.
That's what I smoked after I spent time watching my granddaughter sleep.
Oh, nice.
I was like, okay, time to
relax.
Time to relax and chill. And my number one this week, because it is the last one, it's the number one. It was a gift from Jay.
Oh.
Roma Craft Neanderthal HS.
And I think that's a German cigar.
Yes. Man, that's a bad stick, dude. He knows me with the
Dude, Jay picks out crazy
it's just
cigars.
Crazy cigars, but they are great cigars, man, because you smoke them and you taste certain things. You're like, how did they get... The cedar it was a hint, but you was like, damn, I know that's there. And then the earth, but you had a little bit of chocolate and you're like, whoa, what is this? Man, that's a bad stick.
Oh.
And they supposed to be bringing it to the United States now?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm on this one. I'm on this one.
Well, you know, the thing about it is like let's see, I was on vacation. I think it was on Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. I was actually at home, and Jay swung out to Abby's and picked up a bottle of 15-year-old Dickel. And he calls me and says, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. Smoking.
Chilling.
He's like, where are you at? And I was like, in the shed.
Where would I be?
Right.
You got 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count.
And he says, you want to come have some of this 15-year-old Dickel? And I was like, hell yeah.
As he heard this tire squeal.
I'm like, I'll be there. So I head to the Leaf. He heads to the Leaf. Neo's there. Neo from Definition.
Definition, yeah.
So we sat back there and had that Dickel, which was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And then I had smoked a couple of cigars. And then I was like, Jay, put it on my tab, but I want you to go pick me out any cigar because I know you're gonna
knock it out.
He brings me back with a cigar with no wrapper on it.
So you don't know.
Oh, dude, and it was so good.
What was it though? Did you find out?
Forgot to ask.
I'm just enjoying.
It was that good.
I'm just enjoying.
Man, this thing is relaxing. It's good. It's smooth. It's flavorful. And I'm like, and I told you, I was like, dude, you know how to pick sticks out.
Yes.
So
I give him 100 on that. Because there's times I walk in that Jay, I just need 10 sticks. He like, is there a price range? Yeah. But I need 10 sticks. Man, he come back with 10 dynamite.
Well, you know,
dude,
while Tim was here visiting, he picked up the Rob's Top 10 Maduro pack.
Oh, how did he enjoy that?
Oh, dude, he loved it. He was like, every cigar. And I lined them like in the order that they should be smoked.
Yeah.
So he started out with the La Gloria Maduro. And then he finished with the Padron 1926. Ooh. He'd never had a Padron
over the time y'all were at the
yeah.
Oh, that is smooth, man. Yeah. So he really had an enjoyable time.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And well, we'll talk about that later.
Talk about it later. We got a lot of later conversations.
Yeah, we usually do. So anyway, let me tell you what my pick 6 contribution is. And I had a lot of good smokes while I was at the getaway. And the first one is the McAuliffe Experiencia La Crema. Dude, I've been on those sticks for the last couple of weeks. And I tell you what, man, that has been a phenomenal stick. It's one of those that's like a medium leathery earth stick. And then as it progresses, it starts getting some of that spice, black pepper spice, come in at the last, but it's kind of subtle, so it's not like overbearing. You know what I mean? And then the next one that made the list was the Opus X, the Forbidden. That is a phenomenal stick. Have you had the Forbidden?
No, I had it a couple of weeks ago.
I know. I just wanted to make sure you knew I had one.
Now, I had one too. Okay.
You know how good that is.
Oh, yes.
It's a very nice stick.
No plan.
And then I'm going to tell you another cigar that made the list this week, which was a surprise to me, but it was also a welcome back. And that was LFD Cabinet 6.
You went back to the Cabinet 6?
You know what? I went in there and I was
your experience?
browsing, and the cigars, I looked down and I heard angels sing. You know, that little, I was like, those actually look more like they used to look.
So you heard the wings fluttering?
Yes. So I pulled one out. I inspected it very thoroughly. Because, you know,
yes, I
they've
know.
done me wrong.
Yeah. So you don't want to take that walk twice.
Right. And you know what? It was thicker than it has been.
Okay.
Not as thick as it used to be.
Still
but
oily?
It's still, it was very oily. Just a beautiful presentation of a cigar with no band.
Gotcha.
And so anyway, smoked that. Oh, I smoked that the night we were drinking that 15-year-old Dickel also. Anyway, great stick. Hats off. They brought it back around where it should be. Yeah.
Great.
Is that, yeah, that's 3 for me. How about that?
I was
That's
getting ready to
quick.
say great list, and you said that's 3 for me, so I'm going to shut up. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, guys, we have a special guest coming up next.
Well.
We got Gunny.
Well. Well.
And you know what? He's a regular guy just like us. Loves cigars. Retired Marine. Gunnery Sergeant.
You won't mistake that.
No.
It comes out true.
And he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to him, have him on the show. He's a Patreon.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the things that he's got going on in his life, I was like, you know what? That's a regular cigar guy.
Yeah.
And so we just have a great conversation, learn a little bit about this guy.
Yeah.
And so Gunny's coming up next, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we got a special guest with us today. We have one of our very own Patreon supporters with us today. He goes by Gunny, and if you know anything about the Marines, you probably understand why. We want to say thank you for your service, and thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Gunny, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Rob. I can't thank you enough. It's an honor to be on your show. You know, I listen to you guys. We'll watch you on YouTube, and I just appreciate you having me on, buddy.
Hey man, we're excited to have you on. Me and you have talked a lot behind the scenes. I've got to know you a little bit about you. First of all, thank you for your service and what you've done. And now that you're retired, are you smoking more cigars?
Oh, I started smoking cigars when I was 18.
Oh wow!
Oh, and I'm 55 now, 56. And, well, actually, I'm going to be 57 next month.
Wow. Well, let me just say that you look great for 56 and 57, by the way.
Well, I tell you what, if anything, if I got anything out of this COVID stuff, it was our whole family got it. Me, my wife, and my son. We were asymptomatic. You know, we dodged a bullet, but it made us rest. And so I came out of COVID well rested.
Well, that's good.
Things are getting back to normal. Of course, my family's insane. And so, you know, things are getting back to normal. But, no, I appreciate it, man. It's, you know, it's been a heck of a ride, heck of a 57 years.
So let me ask you this. How old were you when you got in the Marines?
I went in the Marine Corps at 17. Parents signed for me. You know, they weren't too happy about it. Threw the recruiter out of the house a couple of times.
Wow.
Especially my mom. She just, you know, it just, all my family had been in the service. When I say family, my father wasn't, but all my uncles and stuff. And my uncle Harold, who was an inspiration to me, he was in Vietnam. He was in the air cav and everything. And so I grew up, you know, talking to him and seeing the kind of person he was and stuff. And I just knew that, you know, I wanted to be a Marine. And plus my neighbor, buddy of mine, he and I went in together, good friend. we went in on a buddy system, and he ragged me quite a bit that, you know, he was going into court and I wasn't, you know, and all. So we were the type of guys that, you know,
You weren't going to be one up.
going to be, do what?
You weren't going to let somebody one up you.
No. I mean, we took it to an extreme, much to my parents' chagrin. You know, they were like, really? So if someone tells you to jump off the top of the house, you just going to do it? And
you were like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we went in the Corps when I was 17. After Paris Island and infantry training school, went to the 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines up on Camp Geiger and ended up in Beirut, Lebanon in late 82 and went through all that. Came back and decided I didn't want to hump a pack, you know, a 100-pound pack 20 miles a day in the infantry. And plus, I was somewhat of a nonconformist. I didn't like following orders. And of course, the Marine Corps is the last place you want to be if you don't like following orders. But I was stuck. So I joined Force Recon, tried out a couple of times and joined 2nd Force Recon Company. They're a little bit, you still got to obviously follow orders and show some discipline, but it's not the same as, the slam tight infantry. And so joined Force Recon and stayed in there till.
Now, how old were you when you got into the Force Recon?
Let's see, I was probably 19.
Wow.
Probably 19. About halfway through my first tour. I did a straight 6, my first tour. And made it in tried out a couple of times. I passed out from heat exhaustion twice, from the NDOC. And then finally made it in. And then it was probably another year or so before I became an operator. And then stayed in until 89. Marriage was kind of ending, was trying to save that. And so I got out, but got called back up to Desert Storm and then just stayed in until I retired.
I see. Well, that's awesome, man. So how old were you when you started smoking cigar? And wait a minute, let me see what you're smoking there.
That's a little Padron.
1964 anniversary. Very nice stick.
Much to my bank accounts, cringes. I'm a big Padron smoker, have been for many, many years. But I'm a little unusual Padron smoker in that I'll branch out. I love Padrons, but I'll branch out.
Now, let me ask you a question. And I mean, I'm a big fan of the 1964, the 1926, any of those high-end Padrones. But like when you're smoking, do you smoke the Padron like the 3000, the 6000?
Oh, absolutely. Love those cigars.
And which one of those would be your go-to stick? Like
that'd be the 3000.
The 3000? I'll have to try that one. I don't know that I've ever had it. I know I've had the 6000 and the 7000, but I never know which one I want to smoke on the other one, so I just kind of avoid them. You know what I mean? I've just never really experienced them.
Well, it's one of those things is for the price that you pay for that aged tobacco, you can't beat it as far as the value.
Right.
And I mean, now I am this is a little, I guess you'd call this kind of I don't even know if you'd call it a Toro, but I love the 1964 Hermosa. Have you ever seen the Hermosa?
I don't think I have.
It's a little 4.5 by 54.
Okay.
And I call that my go to the grocery store cigar, because my wife is like, if I ever volunteer to go to the grocery store, she knows I want to smoke one of those cigars. So I get in my car, put the top down, and, it's a good little 30-minute smoke. And now, it's $17 for a 4.5-inch cigar. But at the same time, I don't know how you are, Rob, but, we deal with a lot of stuff in our lives. So when I get a chance to smoke a cigar, I want to smoke something that I like.
Absolutely. I had a good friend come up last summer and stayed like 3 or 4 days with me. And he is not a regular cigar smoker. He smokes maybe 3-4 cigars a month. And after spending 3 days here, he was like, hey, what should I smoke? And I was like, anything in that humidor, you're welcome to. And after the second day, he was like, dude, every cigar I've smoked out of your humidor is amazing. And I was like, that's because I don't smoke shit, man. See, if you're going to smoke a cigar, you want to enjoy it, right?
I don't have time. I don't have time for it. And now I'm like, let's antiquated to the classic car industry. People buy these cars, and they sit them in a garage. No, and I don't do that with cigars. If I get a high-end cigar, I'm going to smoke that cigar because I'm not going to just sit it and look at it in my humidor.
No, I'm the same way, Gunny. I buy nice cigars, and I buy those nice cigars to smoke them. And usually when I buy them, I smoke them right then. But if I do take them home, they rarely ever make it more than 3 or 4 days before I smoke them because they're made to smoke.
They're made to smoke. And, man, like I said, we go through enough in our lives and enough bullshit, we have to deal with on a daily basis. So some people say, well, I'll save that for a special occasion. Well, when I get a chance to sit down and smoke a cigar,
that is a special occasion. Hell yeah, it is.
And, and I don't care if it's in my car. Now, I'm kind of like, I remember Bryant saying one time, now, if it's a bad cigar, now if somebody gives me a cigar and I'm sitting in front of them and it's, something's wrong with it, I'm not going to insult them and just throw the cigar in the ashtray. I'm not going to do that. But if I'm in my car or if I'm out on my porch or wherever and, it's a bad cigar, I got no problem just tossing that thing right out the window and starting over again. Now we live in the golden age of cigars right now. It's hard to find a bad. You got to work.
Right. I mean, there's so many good cigars out there. And, to me, I was talking to one of the other Patreon members last night, and he was telling me that he had smoked a last call from AJ Fernandez, and the construction was bad. It was coming unraveled. And I said, the thing about it is, like AJ Fernandez, I'm a big fan of his cigars, and yeah. I don't know how many hundreds of AJ cigars I've smoked, but I'll say that the construction is normally very spot on. It's really good. And so, I said, the pet peeve for me is there's so many cigars out there that the blends are good, but if it's bad construction, that's a no-go for me. If I cut a cigar and I take a cold draw and it's plugged, I'm not going to smoke it. And if it starts crumbling and tearing apart, I'm not going to smoke it. And because most cigars these days are good blends, so you're not getting bad cigars unless the construction is bad. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely. And a lot of I had trouble a few months ago. I don't know what happened, but I moved my cigars from the basement up to one of the bedrooms upstairs. And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my cigars just started they were trashy. They looked sick.
Really?
Yeah, and especially my Padrones. They started getting this white, they were just looking ashy. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm panicking. So I start getting some Bovita packs and, I'm leaving them alone and stuff. Everything came out okay. But I agree 100% with what you're saying is my number one, I can deal sometimes with cigars starting to come unravel because, being a Padron smoker, that single cap, don't get me on that, why they just keep doing single cap on the cigar. But I can deal sometimes with it coming unravel or maybe cracking. You never know.
Yeah, you can still smoke it, but if it's plugged.
If it doesn't draw, I got a perfect draw. I can take a tool. But that just pisses me off.
Oh, I agree. No, I don't want to have to skew a cigar because that's not, by me sticking a tool inside the cigar and ripping a hole in it, that's not the intended way a cigar is meant to be smoked. And even though you can smoke it afterwards, it's not the same as when you get a cigar with that perfect draw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't understand why these manufacturers, let's face it, why don't they all do N2 bar? Come on.
Yeah.
Now I have gotten a Padron that was a little tight.
Yeah.
Once it heated up, it worked itself out. It's a handmade product. human, things happen.
Sure.
Even though they all test their cigars. But, I can count on past 10 years on one hand the number of times I've had that happen.
So that's not bad. That's not bad.
I've had stems and padrones,
I have too.
Reach down there and just pull that sucker right out. And I'm like, what the?
It's like you're pulling a whole leaf out.
Yeah. Now, I don't throw it away. It's like I'll work with that sucker for a while. Now, if I have to throw one of those, and I've done it before, if I got to throw one of those down, I'm just like, I'm pissed for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, I understand. I would be too. So how did you get into cigar smoking? You said you started at 18. Was that a Marine thing, or how did you get into cigars?
Well, I'll tell you, I won't bloviate too much, but we were on patrol one time and we came under fire. And I mean, it was the first time I'd ever experienced it. And I was shattered. And, my top sergeant, master sergeant, I remember him grabbing me and pulling me aside, after all said and done. And he goes, here, take this. And he pulls a cigar, just like the movies, bites the head, lights it, puts it in my mouth. And I sat there and I remember smoking that cigar. I don't remember what kind it was, but not to be melodramatic, but that calmed me down. It refocused my attention from what had happened. And I remember thinking to myself, this was, I appreciated what he did. And after I got back to the States, I was like, oh, I want to try smoking cigars. Didn't know anything about them, but I remembered the experience. And, so top, recommend. There was probably some Monte Cristos, cafes or something. We're talking early 80s.
Right. Wasn't the big selection there is now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Compared to now. And so anyway, I started smoking them. Didn't know what I was smoking. Didn't know how to, you know what I mean? Didn't know how to toast it right. Didn't know how to.
You probably didn't even know how to cut it.
No. I mean, I'm cutting that thing up. They're coming unraveled.
Right. I've been there, brother.
I didn't have a palate, but I just knew that, I wanted to learn about it. And like you've said many times, I listened to people. We didn't have the internet or anything like that. So there was a little shop up there outside of Lejeune and a little hole in the wall. It was almost like a convenience store, but he had a little place in the back, a little humidor. And the humidor was just a couple of cases. And I would go in there and I would listen to what people would say. Hey, this is how you're supposed to toast a cigar. This is how you cut it. And I would listen to them talking. And, it probably took 10 years for me to learn my palate, what I liked, what I didn't like. And now we're into the 90s. And of course, you got cigars everywhere, and 90% of them are crap.
Right.
That cigar boom time. But, eventually I learned, it was one of those things to where I learned what I liked and, learning how to taste those flavor notes. It's all subjective. Flavor notes are all
subjective. Absolutely. And it's funny that you say that it took you 10 years because it didn't take me quite that long, but, as you're exploring your palate, what you think you like changes over time because you experience more and more cigars. You know what I mean? What you loved at one time is not probably what you love today.
Oh, no, definitely not. Now, I always like to keep an open mind and an open palate in that, if I didn't like something 2 years ago, let's keep it somewhat recent. If I didn't like something 2 years ago, I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
Give it another shot, and then all of a sudden I may taste something. Just like I'm trying to remember the cigar. There was a cigar that I just hated it. Went back and smoked it, and it was like I was getting like key lime pie, flavor note. I was like, damn, this is a good cigar. I don't know if they changed the blend.
Or if your palate matured.
The palate matured. But, I go through phases of sometimes I just want, and we're lucky because Connecticut's are a lot different than they used to be.
Oh, absolutely.
But you get like an Aladino, Connecticut.
Oh, I love a Aladino, Connecticut.
Or, Rocky Patel, 1999. Those are good Connecticut. And I go back and forth sometimes. I'll be like, my palate's getting a little bit, tired. I'll hit, the mild medium stuff. And luckily we've got stuff that's got such good flavor now. It's, these manufacturers, dude, they're busting their butts for us.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I love that, I went through a time where I only smoked full-bodied cigars. And when I felt like I really started growing as a cigar smoker is whenever I quit smoking that and went back to the Connecticut's and the naturals and the Habanos that were, mild to medium, so that you actually start having flavor profiles. Because when you're smoking full-bodied cigar one after the next, you completely lose all that flavor. You know what I mean? If you're smoking a Padron black, not a Padron, a Partagas black, one after the next, you're not going to be experiencing a lot of flavors in those cigars, because after the second or third one, your palate is shot.
Well, yeah. And, I always tell this story. There was one, it was around Christmas time. My wife went out of town. I went down in my office and I was watching James Bond DVDs, box sets. And I'm telling you something, Rob, I sat down there like 8 hours and in that office smoking. I must have smoked 10 Fuentes.
Wow.
And I got down there and I went to, I finally decided to come up for air. I went to lean down to tie my shoe. I was sitting on a love seat, and all I remember is the floor coming towards my face. I mean, I'd smoked so much. I couldn't smoke for almost 2-3 weeks.
Wow.
But I was enjoying it so much. I was just loving. And, it's smoking cigars. My wife always goes, well, why are you into cigars so much? And I remember one time she said something, my husband's only vice that he has left is smoking cigars. And I said, hey, hang on a second. Well, one thing, smoking a cigar is not a vice. It brings me pleasure. It relaxes me. It brings me together with good friends. And, I'm able to fellowship with people. So how can that be a vice? It's not a vice. And, I remember my doctor, I take high blood pressure medicine, mainly because I live with my wife. And she's kind of mean. But anyway,
I imagine she has to be.
well, my wife is of Jewish descent.
So is my wife.
Okay. And
so I understand.
Everything is drama. And when her mom was alive and you get them two together, it's like, it could set off at any time.
Oh, let me tell you, my wife has her mother, and her mother has two sisters. And when all three of them get together, you don't want to be anywhere around.
It's like walking through a minefield of bouncing Bettys. You never know. One of those things could pop up and just take your head off at any time. But no, it's not a vice. I remember my doctor, I went, in an annual checkup, and and I go, look, I go, Doc, are you going to tell me to stop smoking cigars? He goes, let me ask you something. He goes, do you enjoy it? I said, absolutely. He goes, does it relax you? I said, absolutely. He said, well, I don't see any reason why you need to stop.
Well, what's funny is my doctor is my older brother, and he smokes cigars. So we don't even have that conversation.
Yeah. And he's always been, and I know you're familiar with, David Garofalo. And stuff like that. And I was watching that show, that Cigar Authority. I don't mean to mention another. Oh no,
we're happy to talk about those guys anytime.
And I had that doctor on there. I can't remember what his name. He was the main researcher for the Cancer Society. And it was one of the episodes a couple of years ago, and he was talking about the reporting. 2 to 3 cigars per day is negligible. In fact, you can't even record it as far as a health.
Yeah, and
risk.
In fact, the term he used was Neil.
Neil, yeah. In other words, it's not there.
It's not even a factor. Yeah.
And and again, it goes back to you just do what you enjoy. I enjoy it. I enjoy researching it. I like to, just learn about it. And I learn a lot from you guys. I'm watching other shows. I mean, I grew, coming up, I listened to Cigar Dave for, 15, 20 years.
Right.
And, on the radio. And that was, just him talking about it. But, now there's so much information. You learn so much about cigars. And you say, well, it's just a cigar. Well, it's not just a cigar. It's something that, like I said, it's something that brings you pleasure. It brings people together. What else brings people together?
From all walks of life.
I can walk. I was in my shop last night, and we're sitting there, me and one of my crew, and we're talking, and then three guys walk up. Never seen them before in our lives. Next thing you know, we've been 2 hours have gone by. We've been talking. I know everything about them. They know everything about us. Where else can you do that? You can't do that. What?
Oh, absolutely.
Else?
Me and my cousin went up to the casino several weeks ago, and when we got done, we had driven separate cars to meet up there. And on the way home, I was like, I Googled where's the closest cigar shop and found one up in Denton, Texas. And so I just swung into a cigar shop I'd never been to. I go in, and there's like probably 15 chairs almost in a circle, and every chair is full. And then there was another area over here where there's nobody sitting. So I got a cup of coffee and sat down with a cigar, and I'd planned on smoking one cigar before I hit the road again. And within 15 minutes, two guys came over and sat down next to where I was. And instead of smoking just a cigar and leaving, I smoked two cigars and had 4 cups of coffee and got to know these guys really well. And it was just a great experience. And I was like, nowhere else. I mean, people don't go to bars and find friends like that. You know what I mean? And so a cigar lounge is a special sacred place to me because it's always a camaraderie that you're going to experience. And so that's one of the reasons that I love cigars. But the other thing that I love about cigars is if I'm just smoking by myself, I love the fact that I'm smoking a product that comes from a different place in the world, and I'm getting to experience something from Nicaragua or Dominican Republic or San Andreas in Mexico. I mean, there's so many things that bring the cigar experience together, and that's just one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the amount. I know cigars, one of my pet peeves right now in Atlanta, you can't sling a cat and not hit a cigar shop around here.
That's what I heard.
But they're hit or miss as far as what I would call, a good, either they want to be a cigar shop / cigar bar, or, when I say that, they don't know whether they're a cigar shop or they're a bar.
Right.
And, or they're a little hole in the wall that they don't monitor. They're so small that they don't monitor the humidity in their humidors, and you get out and you get tobacco beetles.
Really,
stuff like, it's just the whole gambit, and that sweet spot right in the middle, that shop that ticks all the boxes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Those are hard to find. Even though there's a lot of them around here, they're hard to find.
Well, let me tell you, Gunny, you got to come visit us in Abilene because the Leaf checks off every box. It's not a bar. It has a great environment. It has a fantastic humidor. And Jay is like, his goal, in fact, I heard him talking to one of his employees just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was like, you know what our mission is? And his employee was joking around. And he was like, make money. And he was like shaking his head. No, our goal in life here is to make the experience for everyone who comes in here the best cigar experience that they could ever have. And he really believes that. It's not just a slogan on the wall. And that comes into the friendly service, the knowledge of service, the quality of the cigars, the humidor's kept perfect, the environment that you sit down in and enjoy a cigar. He has coffee that's better than any coffee shop in town. And I mean, it's just the complete package. So I can't wait for you to make it to Abilene someday.
I'm going to make it. I'm going to bring some of my crew too. I don't know.
We would love that.
I don't know. We've been smoking cigars together for so long, and we know each other so well. And but I don't know if Abilene's ready for us. But
it's not.
No,
it's not. Abilene is I mean, Abilene is a very unique city in the fact that I'm not going to go on and on, but I'll just say that it's a unique city that is definitely not ready for your crew, because Abilene's not even ready for my crew. And I'm sure that your crew takes it up a notch.
Well, we're pretty high speed, low drag, but I'll tell you what, in a shop, not to be too cliche, but that old saying, that cheer song where everybody knows your name.
Right.
But there are times when I go into a shop, I don't want to socialize.
Sure.
Not against anybody. I'm just, it's been that kind of day, and I just need to relax. I need to sit back.
And you know what? I do the same thing, Gunny. When I go to the Leaf, sometimes when I need my quiet time, I go back, I get me a cigar, I get a cup of coffee, and I go back in the back room and I sit in a chair by myself, and I just enjoy some quiet peace time.
But the key is that proprietor or tobacconist knows you and knows when you just need your time.
Right.
That's the thing is, I can, like I said, there's a couple of shops here not too far from me. My home shop, and then another one we branch out every now and then. They know us. Hey Gunny. Hey Shuffling Bob. Bobby Shuffles, Shuffling Bob. I got to tell you about Shuffling Bob one day. But anyway, but they know us, so they know what I smoke, and sometimes, I'll walk up, and they'll go into the humidor, and I bring my, to me etiquette's important in a shop.
Absolutely.
I've been going long enough. I bring my travel humidor in there. Some proprietors don't want you to bring your travel humidor in. They want you to go into but I always, even if it's my home shop that I've been going to for years and years, I still go in and buy a cigar.
Absolutely.
I don't, you got to support that brick and mortar. But I go, sometimes, hey, I got this new cigar in, buddy. Try this. Trust me. Try it. Just hand it to me. And, what can I get you? You want a Coke? Anything, it's just they know who you are.
Nothing
and
like having a good home shop.
Yeah, good home shops are. And I got a neighbor, good friend of mine, but he just insists on buying all his cigars online. Now I'm like, look, man. I said, you need to support your brick and mortar. You need to quit going online, and you need to go down here and buy your cigars. For one thing, they're humidified correctly.
Yeah, they're better cigars just because they're taken care of.
Now, see, I go over there and we go sit on his porch, and he's like, my God, I've never gotten a bad cigar from you, buddy. I mean, he goes, how do you do? I said, for one thing, I don't buy that crap online that I got to stick in my, because he was complaining the other day. He bought some Romeos. He's like, they just started blowing up on me. I was like, I told him, give them to me. I'll put them in my humidor, and I'll get them back correct for you. But next time you want some cigars, give me a call. We'll go down to the shop, get a cup of coffee, or something, and just hang out and get your cigars there. And I guarantee you, when you get home, they won't be crap, and you'll be able to smoke them. I'm converting him slowly but surely. Just when I think I got him, he backslides. And goes, you got to come over, man. I got this special on CI for that. I'm like, I love you, brother.
Right.
But no,
they come around eventually.
They do. And see, he just didn't know. And then when I moved in next door, he's like, all right, we're going up a different level now.
Yeah.
Every now and then. Now, I love to give people cigars. One thing I love smoking cigars, but one thing I love to do also is I love to share cigars. And, because I want them to have the same experience. Now, I don't want to sound bad, but if you're a new cigar smoker, I'm not going to give you one of my Padrones.
No, not at all.
Not because it's strong or anything, but because I don't want you throwing half of that cigar in that ashtray, because I'm going to have to pick it up I'm gonna have to pick it up and finish it for you. But like Jimmy next door, he's, I gave him a Padron. I think it was just just your standard 64 natural and anniversary series, and he was like, "Oh my God, I've never." Yeah, I'm like, "See, this is what it's about." And I taught him how to retrohale.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And well, I didn't teach him on the Padron, but
right.
You don't want to hit a 1926 Maduro and start retrohaling all the time, because that even kind of lights me up every now and then. I got out here one time and I took a puff and I was smoking a 26 Maduro and anniversary, and I retrohaled and I sucked too much. I made too much go through my nasal cavity, and I'm hacking. And my wife was like, "What happened? What?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. I learned my lesson."
Right.
But anyway, I enjoy giving cigars away, giving to people, and because I want them to, I want them to enjoy it with me. Not everybody will. Not everybody. You can't bring everybody over from the dark side, but or maybe to the dark side. It just depends.
Well, I know exactly what you mean, because I have two younger brothers and we're pretty close, and neither one of them really smoke cigars. But whenever they come over, I always try to say, "Hey, I really want you to try this or try that." And my younger brother, he just isn't having it. And then my youngest brother will smoke, but he is still stuck in the infused cigars because, he's not a cigar smoker. And so that's what he tries. Although the last time I took him a cigar, I took him an Aladino, Connecticut, and he really enjoyed that one. And I was like, "See, there's hope for you, brother. There is hope."
That's Corojo tobacco in that thing, man.
Yes.
What other Connecticut can you get that's got Corojo tobacco? And, but no, don't get me off on these infused. Well, I'm guilty. I've smoking a, leather rose.
Oh, I lit one up and I immediately put it in the ashtray.
I'm like, I can't, I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't either. In fact,
nothing against True Estate.
A friend of mine told me, if you get a sweet tip cigar, cut it and smoke it backwards. And I tried that and I still couldn't do it. I was like, man, it's just, when you take away from the natural flavor of the tobacco, I'm like, that's the whole point for me, is that I want to get the blend of the tobacco. I don't want to taste a flavor that was injected into the cigar. You know what I mean? It's not a brisket. It's a cigar.
Yeah. I want a brisket. But from a cigar standpoint, like Padron, the flavor notes I get from my Padrons have always been, I don't know why, maybe you're different, which I'm sure you are, as far as what you get from them, but I always get the deep flavor notes like grilled asparagus, that kind of stuff, those kind of flavors, that steak, those peppercorns, I've always gotten that kind of flavor from those kind of cigars. But then that McAuliffe, it was like smoking I call it a dessert cigar. You know what I mean? It's like, it hits everything. I love it. And it's not the most expensive cigar they have.
Right.
But for me, it just hit me. It hit the bullseye for me. I like the Medallia. I like some of the other ones. But really, if Al McAuliffe set that $40 McAuliffe in front of me and then put a McAuliffe, I'm going to choose that McAuliffe.
See, for me, I'm going to take the $40 Reserva.
Now that's just like, from an Aladino brand, that Corojo Reserve.
Oh, that's a great stick.
It's a good stick. But that sun-grown, the sun-grown and stuff. But, I just want other people to appreciate, what I appreciate. And we pay a lot of different prices for cigars. And that's another thing that kind of pisses me off about the Atlanta area. They're a little bit overpriced.
Now, how's the taxes in Atlanta? Is it a big part of the tax, or is it just that they're jacking up the price? They're
jacking up the price. I've got I've got a key to his shop. My home shop, I've got a key to it because sometimes on Friday nights or Saturday nights, Red, the proprietor, he'll go home and we'll stay and watch a movie. And that's another thing, man. That's what a shop's all about.
That's awesome.
You trust me? Because they used to call me Sunday Joel instead of Gunny because he would call me up on Sundays and, say, hey, can you work for me? And because he wants to take some time off, spend with his family. So I'd go in on Sundays and, work the register and help people and customers and stuff like that. And, I'd bring the barbecue grill. We'd grill out back at the shop and stuff like that.
Nice.
But, and so I know what these things cost. I know a lot of manufacturers. I know Nick Perdomo real well. I know Rocky. And, you got to let me tell you that story one day about getting the car stolen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, I know a lot. I know these guys, and talked to them many times and sat and broke bread with them and smoked a cigar. I know what these things cost. And I go to these other shops and it just pisses me off because I call them fly-by-nights. They don't understand what's going on with a cigar. I understand you got to do a markup. You got to pay rent. You got to pay your people. But they're pandering too much. They're trying to change their clientele.
Right.
They're trying to change their environment instead of working with it. And they're just charging too much. There's a little, not too far from me. I get my Padrones at, my home shop, but also there's a little head shop not too far from the house here. And he's got a little humidor in there. And he's got the best prices on Padrones in town.
Wow.
And you think in a head shop, you just walk in there, you've got a nice little humidor. And that's, so I know where to go. I know how much this stuff costs. And, if you're going to, I'll give you an example. I walk into your humidor and you're selling a brick house for $12.
There's a problem.
You got a problem.
Yeah.
And now there may be, that I may be, I was born at night, not last night.
Hey, I understand. It's funny that you say a head shop is where you get some cigars. I travel sometimes, and whenever I'm in a town next over, there's no cigar shops in town, but there's a head shop over there, and they have a small humidor. But their cigars are the opposite. They price them probably about 30% more than normal. But whenever I don't have a cigar with me, I'm happy to pay that 30% markup because I'm not going to not have a cigar.
I remember, man, you were talking about that. Obviously, cigars are not addictive. Not one bit at all. Put a cigar down and not smoke another cigar for 6 months if I wanted to. I mean, don't get me off on the regulations and stuff. But I remember I got on this kick of the Ashton VSG enchantments. Do you remember the enchantments?
I don't remember the enchantments.
It was it was almost like a Perfecto on steroids. It was a figurado style, but it had the little nipple.
Yeah.
And then a bulbous, behind the foot, and then came back down to a normal. It's probably a 4.5 inch, 5 inch cigar.
Okay.
But it was, it was an Ashton, and it was VSG, so it was full body. I was chain smoking those things, and I'll never forget. It was wintertime, and I was just jonesing for a cigar. So that was my last enchantment. So I go out behind the house to get out of the wind. Go outside, get behind my house to get out of the wind. This was several years ago. And I mean, that thing, literally, the embers are flying off of that. The wrapper is coming apart. It looked like I was burning leaves. But it's floating up in the air. That thing's just blowing up on me because it's so dry and so cold outside. But I'm trying to smoke that cigar, and every time I take a puff, the foot of it just blows up even more.
Wider and wider. It looks like one of those cigars with a bomb on the end of it.
Exactly. But I was just Jones, when you want a cigar, you want a cigar. And I've done the same thing. I've got places where, we'll be out and I very rarely run out of cigars. There's not usually if you see me, I've got a cigar on me somewhere.
Same here.
And,
And when it's funny because you say that, when I take a trip that's, I know I'm only going to be gone from town for like 4 hours, I usually still take 5 or 6 cigars because you never know when that 4 or 5 hour trip turns into a 10-hour trip. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, like our crew, when we all go out together and we're going to go to another shop, you got 2 things that happen. You got to have a designated driver. And if someone needs to ferry people home, and you also, and the designated driver's got to carry the football. We call it the football. It's the big community, it's that 99 count Cigar.
Oh, yeah.
We call it the football. So who's got the football tonight? And it's like, so we don't run out. And now the thing is you got to put your cigars in the football. You don't, when we're going out together, you got to.
So everybody puts their cigars in the same football.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're going to bring 4 or 5, now if you can borrow.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Except, Shuffling Bob, again, he doesn't like anybody messing with his cigars. I tell you, Shuffling Bob, and this is why I love the community, because we can joke with each other, we can laugh, we have a good time. No one takes anything too serious, except our cigars. Bob, he's with IBM. He's been with IBM like 30 years. So he's completely drunk on the Kool-Aid. And you cut him, he bleeds IBM blue. But Bob had cerebral palsy when he was a kid. So he's crippled.
Sure.
And so he walks, he shuffles.
Ah, gotcha.
And his nickname is Shuffling Bob. Now, people will look at us like, well, that's horrible that you call him that. That's because we love him. It's a term of endearment.
Absolutely.
You got Paulie Two Sticks. Reason why he's called Paulie Two Sticks is he used to work at a shop, and you had to have a minimum of $10 to charge when you buy a cigar. Got to be minimum credit card, charge you $10. So he'd always say, "Well, go get you another stick, and that way you can use your card." And we called him Paulie Two Sticks. But still, it's just that kind of thing, and that kind of camaraderie. We don't get all worked up. We're not all, like my dad used to say, those who are easily offended are easily controlled.
Right. Well, if you're easily offended, you're probably not going to want to hang out with me and my guys. That's for sure. You're probably not even going to want to hang out with just me.
Oh, I'm the same way. I'm an equal opportunity asshole.
Right. Me too.
I'll give you the shirt off my back, but at the same time, that's just how we are. That's who we are. Well,
I don't hardly ever get into anything political because I'm really not a political guy unless it is against my cigar smoking. But I will say that I've been on a kick lately of telling people you get in on this cancel culture and it's only a matter of time until what you love gets canceled.
They're going to come for you.
So
sooner or later.
My wife is a very devout Christian. And my wife will be the first one to tell you that she doesn't want to see X-rated books or R-rated books or movies banned, because if you can ban that, it's only a matter of time until they come for your Bible. And so,
absolutely, be
real careful for people who get in on this cancel culture.
And I have a problem. I have a real problem with some of the manufacturers, kind of the way they're handling stuff. And that, nothing against them, but high tide raises all ships.
Absolutely.
We've got some entities out there that are actually working against the industry, and they're in the industry.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but back to your cruise. We used to say, you come in the shop, you're welcome. You can come into the conversation, no problem at all. Welcome, have a seat. But if you decide you want to get into a conversation, you got to be ready, because you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're gonna give it to you.
Oh, we're not going to hold back.
Yeah, and you know what? The more we give it to you, that means the more we like you.
We used to absolutely. If we don't like you, we won't talk to you.
Right.
I'm just not going. If I don't like you, I'm not going to give you. I'm not. If it doesn't make me wealthy, healthy, or wise, I don't have time for it.
That if all you get is pleasantries, you're not in the group.
I don't know how it is in Texas. But I grew up. I'm from Florida. I'm from the Panhandle. Pensacola.
Oh, I didn't know you were from Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up here in Atlanta for past 30 years, but I'm from Pensacola.
Okay.
And but I'm from the country. I'm from a little town out west Pensacola called Beulah.
Beulah.
Yeah, Beulah, Florida. I grew up out in the country, and we always had a saying, and my grandmother would say, bless your heart. Well, just bless your heart. Now, bless your heart doesn't mean, God bless you. What it basically means is you're an idiot.
Right.
My mom used to use it on me all the time. She'd go, bless your little heart. In other words,
you don't know any better.
You don't know any better. And so, I tell you a story. We had in our home shop, there was a black lady that used to come in, and she was dressed to the nines in a business suit and everything. She worked for Fifth Third Bank. She would go in to the humidor. She bought Series Bs. And I used to think they were for her boyfriend because she would never sit down. She'd just go in, hit it, and quit it, grab them and go. For years, we've noticed that lady doing that. And she was a nice looking woman. She was just, and come to find out, those Series Bs were hers.
Nice.
Those were for her. And I'm like, really? I don't want to sound misogynistic, but you don't usually see a woman smoking a Series B.
Right.
And that's got some. At one time, that was a pretty strong cigar. And so finally, one day she comes in and sits down. She goes in and grabs a cigar. And that's how we found out. We're all talking and goofing around, and she sits down right in the middle of us, cuts that cigar, toasts that foot, lights it up like she, looked like freaking Nick Perdomo lighting that thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
She knew what she was doing. And we're looking at her like, we're all impressed as hell. Like, all right. Puts that thing in her mouth, takes a puff, and says, so, what are y'all talking about?
And she was ready.
You had a bunch of old alpha males sitting there, and, we're just staring. Look like a bunch of school kids.
Right.
And then finally somebody breaks out and goes, well, we were doing it. She goes, yeah, I've got an opinion on that. Can I get it? We're like, hell yeah. And then after that, she would come in and hang out. After that, she'd walk in. Hey, I think her name was Ruth. Hey, Ruth, hey, sometimes she'd sit down, but it's just.
And isn't that great when you get to know someone that, like, when you see them in the cigar shop and you don't have that experience with them, you have your idea of what that person's like. But then when they sit down and you get to know them, it's just refreshing. And it's like everything that you thought was probably wrong and everything that you learned was amazing.
I went in one time, Fratello cigar.
Oh yeah.
And Oscar DeFrayes.
Oh yeah.
He was in the shop. And, selling to Red, the owner, making his rounds. I didn't know who he was. And there was these, and sitting beside him, he had Oscar, but then sitting beside him was this older gentleman. And I'm sitting there, I'm bad mouthing, I'm bad mouthing these cigars, and I'm, and the old gentleman sitting beside him came in separate was Nestor Miranda, and I'm bad mouthing Nestor cigars. And my buddy, the owner was like going, and I said, too bad these cigars can't be like these Fratellos. And then, Oscar's looking, he's looking up at me like, dude, man, you got cigar royalty sitting right here in your bad mouth. And then I realized, who he was. And I just, kindly excused myself.
Right.
Went out the back door, went in the humidor, went through going to the bathroom, out the back door of the shop. I was like, oh man, talk about putting your foot in your mouth.
I've been there. I've done it many times. But
hey,
I wanted to ask you though, how long have you been retired?
Retired in 94.
94. Wow. Yeah. So what have you been doing since 94?
Well, I'm in IT. Went back and got my, through the GI Bill, went back to school. I did the junior college route and then 4-year university, 2 years and 4-year university. And I'm a software engineer.
Oh, very nice.
But I work for a fintech company. And I've been in the, as far as financial software since then.
Okay, very interesting. My cousin, who I'm very close with, is also a software engineer. So I don't know a lot about it, but I know a little bit about it.
Well, I just, it was, in all honesty, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I didn't have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of. And I said, I got to do something. I got to, and if I'm going to do something, you got your money coming in from the government, but that's not enough to live off of.
Right.
And so I said, I got to go back to school, I guess. And, if I'm going to do something, I want to do something to where I at least can make a decent living.
Well, you went into the right field at the right time.
I did. I was lucky. I hit it right at the right time. I mean, I bullshitted my way into my first job. I didn't know what I was talking about. I told them, I'm still going to school. I told them I had all this experience with writing code and all that. I didn't know how to do anything.
Right.
They hired me.
And then you learned how.
And I learned how quick. I always say, I learned, the school of hard knocks. And even I know these days, I'm on the fence about a college degree because I thought that was the route. But after being in, for a long time now, it's not all about that. It's about being able to problem solve, being able to use your common sense. And like I said, I BS my way into my first job. I kept my mouth shut, my ears open. And, kind of like the old saying my dad used to tell me, if someone's trying to save you, you let them. You shut up and you let them. And I'd listen to those old timers, the people that have been doing it a long time, and just, I try to soak up as much as I could.
A lot of value in that.
Yeah, now I'm one of those old timers. And
right.
I get these guys in and I'm like, look, I'll be on the phone with them. And unfortunately, like you notice a lot of times you get, messages from me. It's like 1:00 in the morning, 12:30, 3:30, because money doesn't sleep.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm whenever works work. I was up last night at midnight, and there's times where I'm up at 3 a.m. because I get a phone call. So I completely understand. And I'm with you. I'm one of the old guys now. I've been at my company for 20 years, and it's like I wake up and go, how the hell did that happen?
No matter what you do, you always go back to the basics.
Right.
And I get these young guys coming in, and let's say they, they've got all these certifications. They got their degree. They got all these certifications, but they've never, I always told people, what's the difference in a intermediate engineer and a senior engineer? They both know the same technology. The senior engineer knows what not to do. A senior engineer knows when to get his butt out of that situation.
Gotcha.
Experience. That's the key. And I always tell these guys, like, look, if you're in doubt, get out. And let somebody know. And no one's going to ever get onto you, but you keep going and you keep clicking those keys and you cause an outage, you're on your own.
Right.
And, not to get too much IT, and you can do that in life itself. but time in the seat. That's what makes a difference in that intermediate and that senior engineer. But I get these guys, man, they won't listen. They just keep on going. I'm like, I can't tell you the number of times I've just screamed on the phone, shut up, stop what you're doing and listen to what I'm telling you. But why? I was like, dude, you're drowning. I'm trying to save you. Now shut up and let me save you.
Take the olive branch I'm giving you.
Yeah. I'm like, and then we can do a postmortem after.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. How long you been married, Gunny?
This is my second wife. I didn't learn my lesson the first time.
Right.
So I thought I'd try it again. And I've been married 21 years.
21 years. Well, congratulations.
I appreciate that.
How about children?
Okay. I've got one son adopted. His name is Jonathan, and Jonathan's autistic.
Okay.
And my little buddy, he's 11 now. But
he's keeping you young.
I don't know what he's doing. Sometimes he's keeping me young. Sometimes it's like, well, just like last week, he was at home. I work from home. So he was at home with me it's been 2 weeks ago. He decided, I can't say anything because I was the same way. He decided to jump off of something that's like 10 feet high and, landed on his feet, squatted, ended up cracking one ankle and straining the tendons in the other ankle. So he was at home. He was home with me for a couple of weeks while he was healing. Love him to death, but I was about to call 1-800-CHOKING. I'm like, dude, if I have to sit there and listen to you playing Fortnite for one more minute,
right,
I'm going to lose my mind. And so he's like, well, I'm not well enough to go to school. I said, oh yeah, if I got to put you in a wheelchair and take you to school next week, you're going to school. But no, I love Jonathan, and he's my buddy. It's funny. Kids will change those priorities.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you have one with special needs.
Sure.
And I wouldn't take him any other way. I mean, Rob, you would, if he was standing beside you, you'd never know that he, was autistic.
Right.
But, it's one of those things to where, it's one of those things that wake you up in the middle of the night worrying about. But I love him. I love my wife. I give her a hard time. She's, like I said, she's pretty cool when she's asleep. But, I've always used her as a, butt of a lot of my jokes. Like at work, I'd get off the phone and senior VP would come in my office and he'd go, "What's wrong?" I said, wife just called. She didn't make parole. And, or I'd tell her, when I met her, she was homeless. And they'd look at me. I said, yeah. And I kind of enjoyed that because when the date was over, I could drop her off anywhere.
Nice.
But, I've always done that. She's been a good sport, but she's a good woman. And like you were saying, she's a devout Christian. And I don't know why she married somebody like me, but
charity.
Yeah, maybe I've always said she's got good taste because she married me.
Right. I've always said that my wife married me because she was into charity.
Yeah, that's same here. She puts up with me.
Well, hey, man, we're going to have to wrap it up, but I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. And thank you so much for supporting the show through the Patreon. I mean, you guys make the show possible every week, and we want to say thank you for that as well. And hats off for your service also, Gunny.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And again, it's an honor and a pleasure. It's a pleasure to support you. Your support of the brick and mortars and the quality of sponsors you have says a lot for your show, you and Bryant. I appreciate you guys. Well, we appreciate it. And I the reason I got to run actually is because I know Bryant's at the cigar shop waiting on me now. Oh, yeah. He's probably trying to get into that locker. Right. Probably trying to get into that locker. Yeah, well, hello. I will do that, and we will definitely be talking to you again, and we got to make plans for you to come visit Abilene sometime. Absolutely. I'm going to come up. If not, it'll just be me, and maybe you guys will smoke a cigar with me. Let's have some bourbon. Well, I would imagine we'll smoke more than one with you. Oh yeah, we'll we'll make it a weekend. We may not. It won't be the same again.
I'm
You know,
ready.
Tell Bryant get some rest.
He will need it. Trust me. He's an early go to bedder and he's an early get up, but he will definitely
come
need
wake him
it.
up.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that interview with Gunny.
Yes, sir.
Dude, Gunny is a guy that you want to hang out and smoke cigars with. You know what I mean?
He's the prototypical Marine.
Yeah. I mean, and he's just a good dude.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Never have to worry about anything with a guy like that.
I want to say thank you to Gunny for coming out and hanging out with
Yes,
us
sir.
and talking for a bit. Let's jump into some different news around the cigar industry. One,
Rob researched.
you guys know I love Caldwell cigars. In fact, tonight I just lit up during the break a Long Live the King Mad Mofo.
Me too. We both.
Dude, I mean that. Yeah, show it over there. Let's see if we can show that on the camera there. That is a nice stick.
Bad
Dude,
mofo.
I retro held this. And the thing about this is, like, we had Robert on the show a few weeks ago, and this is AJ's interpretation of what this cigar is, but from not Nicaragua. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of being from the Dominican
Republic.
Republic, this is the interpretation with all Nicaraguan tobacco.
Out
And
the park.
dude, it is the retrohale on this is full of flavor, but
And
it's still smooth.
Yes.
That is a badass stick.
Yes, sir. It's a bad mofo.
So,
I love the name.
so anyway, speaking of Caldwell, the big news this week is Jeremy Mcdonald, which is the national sales rep for Caldwell Cigars. He is resigned and he's starting his own cigar line.
Tell the truth.
That's a big move.
It is.
And I'll tell you this. I was on Facebook earlier and Robert Caldwell posted this and said, hey, man, this guy is badass. I hope that every one of you guys will go out there and support his brand.
Okay.
So, I mean, that tells you right
Yeah.
there all you need to know.
Yeah,
And I mean, I'm expecting some really good cigars from Jeremy Mcdonald. I don't even know
Expectation
the
is
name
set,
of the
bruh.
company
Yeah,
yet.
but the expectation is set.
You've been a national sales rep for Caldwell. You better come out swinging. You know what I mean?
Come out there playing.
Yeah, you and I
Better be
fully
real.
because we fully expect that.
yes.
I mean, you've been hanging out with the dude who knows his shit.
Yeah.
You better come out and know your shit.
Tell
And
the truth.
I think he will 100%.
Yes, sir.
Expectations are high. We're excited about it. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but a couple of weeks ago, the Food and Drug Administration has banned menthol flavored cigarettes and all flavored cigars.
Yep. So
Now, here's the thing about that, and I should be pissed. I'm not, because I don't smoke menthol cigarettes and I don't smoke infused cigars.
but you're a freedom of rights person.
Right, and that's where I have the problem.
Gotcha.
Is because I'm a personal rights guy, and if I want to smoke nuclear waste, I should be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an adult, I can
Yeah.
make a decision for myself. I don't need the nanny state to tell me what I can't do.
Yeah.
So that part irks me.
You just made Newport and Cools the new drug.
Yeah, actually. And you know what? I was reading. Let me tell you the last part of this. The agency said it hopes to have the ban in place in a year. It cannot ban the flavor immediately because the proposed change needs to grow through legal public period.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. Okay, you know how you can no longer sell menthol cigarettes, okay? But if there's a separate product over here that is a menthol gel
Yeah.
that you run
Or
across the cigarette,
And you have it again.
and now it's a menthol cigarette, I can still do exactly what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
There's loopholes to everything because we are adults.
certain legislature makes things more enticing because that's what it's going to do. You have now that people that have smoked infused cigars, and you're just going to take them away from them. And the reason why is what? because it entices, and the reason was it entices the young. It brings the young in. Okay, I understand taking Joe Camel off television. I do.
I do that. And you know what? I understand even like on the menthols, I don't think menthol is a youth encourager.
Nope.
That's just my personal opinion.
It isn't.
So, but you know what? I do see where you have, let's just throw out there, and I don't know all the infused flavors of cigars, but let's say a cherry cigar.
Gotcha.
I'm completely okay with banning that. I mean, for the youth, because I know that whenever I was in high school, actually junior high, I smoked
junior high.
I smoked clove cigarettes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was my gateway into smoking.
Yeah.
And so I understand when you're doing a grape flavored cigar. Because
how enticing it can be
to a younger kid, which I still have a problem with because younger kids aren't smoking cigars of any kind.
No.
So the menthol doesn't come into play for kids.
No.
And the flavored cigars don't come into kids because, I mean, a kid's not going to pay $10 for a flavored stick.
But are they looking at, like, hate to say, but backwoods?
Oh,
Black and Mild.
Dude, they said that in the article. In fact, it straight up mentioned those cigars, Black and Mild and Backwoods. Yeah.
Okay.
Swisher Sweets as well.
Sweets.
Those are gone.
They don't smoke the Swisher Sweets anyway. They just take what's inside of it out.
And that was one of the arguments was these aren't even being smoked.
But it's the leaf. So they can, also now you have to spend $7-8 for the leaf, and are you gonna I still don't like it, but I understand a little bit. But
when it all comes down to it, let me do what I want to do.
Tell the truth.
Because that's what I'm going to do.
As long as it's not killing nobody and putting them in jeopardy, let me do it.
Right.
Do it.
That brings up another thing I'll circle back around to.
Gotcha.
So the other news is AJ Fernandez is releasing 3 new cigars this month.
Yeah, I saw that.
All New Worlds.
Yep, I saw that.
And I am excited about the New World Oscuro Double Corona. They're also coming out with New World Oscuro Toro, but the Double Corona in an Oscuro, I'm excited to try.
Yeah, when you know what you're reading, you have this vision of what that stick would look like and what it would taste like. So you're like, yeah, I want that. I really want that. I just want to try it.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
I mean, if it's an AJ product, I want to try it.
Tell the truth. I'm walking that walk with you, bruh. AJ don't put out no bunk like Swisher Sweets. Did I say that? I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you 100%.
So we don't have to worry about that.
So this is something that is about to happen, and I didn't even know it was a thing.
What's that?
And I'm kind of ashamed. And I'm pretty sure you don't know either.
We'll see.
May 31st.
Labor Day.
No.
I mean Memorial Day.
No.
It is.
The last Monday of the month is Labor Day.
The 31st.
Well, sometimes it is.
But it is this
not.
year.
All right, you know what?
It's
I'm going to
actually
have to
Memorial
double
Day.
check and see if you're right. It is. Okay.
Memorial Day.
Normally, it's just the last Monday of the month. There's not a date.
Yeah.
So, did you know that May 31st, 2021 is the 4th International Enjoy a Cigar Day?
Heck no, I never knew that.
I didn't either. But
Fourth,
now,
also this is the 4th
this will
annual,
be the
so it
4th
started
year.
4
So
years
I missed
ago.
it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
But now that I know, I'm excited about it. And this little article that I pulled up said the 4th International Enjoy a Cigar Day will take place May 31st, 2021. It is no coincidence that they originally proclaimed by Cigar Rights of Europe and Cigar Rights of America coincides with World No Tobacco Day.
Okay.
World No Tobacco Day, and it's Enjoy a Cigar Day. I love that.
I love it.
Because I've always been a proponent of, I believe it's in October or November, the National Smokeout Day.
Yeah.
Like, that's the day they don't want anybody to smoke. And I'm like, I turn it around. National Smokeout Day means smoke them out.
Smoke them all.
Smoke them all. So anyway, I'm excited about this. I didn't know about it, so I'm really excited about it. But on this day, consumer organizations want to draw attention to the following. That the cigar is a luxury product.
Yes.
Enjoyed by discerning adults as an indulgence, not a habit. That each premium cigar is a natural product. That the enjoyment of cigars can contribute to one's personal well-being. The Patreons of cigars and producers and sellers of cigars contribute to their communities.
Yes, true. That's true.
The cigar Patreons believe they should have the option to enjoy a cigar where they are welcome.
Tell the truth.
Private property owners, retail tobacconists, establishments in the hospitality sector should have the liberty to set their own rules.
I believe in that totally.
I mean, that
I'm 100% behind that.
If you are not planning on smoking a cigar on Memorial Day, which I can't believe you're not, that day, light them up, baby. Light them up. You know what I'm saying?
Let them go.
Right. So then there's one more little news fact that I'm going to share with you guys.
We know who's sitting in front of the computer today.
Yep, that's me. For the first time in the history of the world,
Hold up.
China, that's China, has become the number one market in the world for Cuban cigars. Why are you laughing? I don't know what about that's funny.
It's real funny. China is number one in Cuban cigars.
As a marketplace, which is really
because they don't have the embargo.
That's a more expensive cigar line. Habanos has been eyeing the opportunity in China in recent years. Habanos executive Jose Maria Lopez told China's Xinhua News that China was the company's biggest emerging market. Sales in China have grown more than 50% in the last 6 years alone. In 2020 alone, they were up 5%. So, you know what, but and the reason I found that curious and interesting at all, let me see the lighter. You have the lighter?
No, I don't.
I know. Oh, Larry. So, I was like, I need a lighter.
I need a lighter. I don't see it with Bryant. Oh, I know where it went.
Well, I find that very interesting because it's like they haven't caught on to the Nicaraguan and Dominican Republic cigars.
Bruh.
And let me tell you, in my own cognitive thinking, there you go.
A little bit better.
Thank you. The pre-show or the post-show is going to be something.
It's going to be something else.
But what I was thinking is, so they're buying all these really expensive Cubans.
Yeah.
When they find out how damn good the cigars are from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Brazil, Mexico,
Philippines, all these other places.
I don't know about any cigars in the Philippines.
That's something I researched today.
Well, enlighten me, because I think you're full of shit, and all of a sudden you're telling me you research. And since we were talking about previous research, this weighs in a lot on what I think about your previous research.
Why is that?
Well, because if you research this and you're completely wrong, then it puts doubt in my mind about your previous research.
You got doubt about anything. I do. It doesn't matter. I can tell you the sky is blue and you're going to walk outside to look. No, it's not. It's bluish green. It's blue.
It's Muriel turquoise.
See? You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
This is the stuff I have to deal with, people. Dealing with Rob M.F. Jones. As he calls himself.
So what did you find out? I mean, you researched. Are you going to reread the article, or are you going to sum it up for me?
I'm going to sum it up for you. It says premium cigar tobacco from around the world. And it gives the places: Connecticut, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua, Ecuador, Brazil, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Indonesia, and the Philippines.
Well, what does it say about the Philippines?
Premium tobacco comes from the Philippines.
I don't think I don't know, but I don't think I've ever had a cigar from the Philippines.
Because you haven't tried one and you haven't researched to find out.
But now I'm
there.
going to have to find out about what they make in the Philippines because I'm going to want to try it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to, boom, Flor de la Filipino, which is, $7 sticks. That's nice. Tabacalera Incorporado out of the Philippines.
Does it have any reviews? Does it tell about the tobacco? Is it strong? Is it medium? Is it flavorful?
You got to go through the month, date, and year that you were born first before you find out anything.
I would think that they have amazing soil over there. I don't know that, but I've never been to the Philippines, but it's very like mountainy and tropical.
And it's volcanic, some volcanic.
Yeah. So, I would think that they would have good tobacco there, but I don't know.
We're going to find out. The finest Philippine cigar since 1881. Oh Lord, I'm a murder this.
You're gonna butcher it
like I'm from Lubbock. The Totalmente Heco Hermano.
Does it say anything about the flavor profile?
Yeah, they're giving the history first.
Oh, we don't care about the history.
Never care about the history.
If you care about the history, you can go on about your business.
And it started with this dude. That's weird. Antonio Lopez y Lopez.
In the Philippines.
Yep. Antonio Lopez y Lopez.
He was like, I can grow tobacco here.
I can grow great tobacco here. He was Spanish. He was from the colonial government. So he must have been over there when they colonized it.
Yeah, the Philippines are very interesting in the fact that they have remnants from the colonization of Spain still over there when it comes to food.
And these are Cubans over there doing this.
Really?
Yes. Cuban workers doing Cuban rolling style, which ensures a consistent and effortless draw.
We are going to get some Filipino cigars. And let you guys know if it's worth the hunt.
I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
I'm going to order some because we know nobody around here sells them, so you got to order them. I'm going to have to see who I can order them from because this is the company, Tabacalero Incorporado, yeah. Incorporada.
All right, cool. Well, we'll get our hands on some of those, smoke them, and then we'll let everybody know if it's worth the hunt.
If it's worth it or not, because they put them in there as part of the premiums. With Nicaragua.
I would hope that they are in the premiums.
That's what I read off earlier.
Right.
He was like, what? Philippines?
Well, no, I would have no idea.
We knew Cameroon and everybody else.
So anyway, I did you see Buchanan, the Dallas Cowboy defensive lineman, was out for like half of a practice?
For what?
I don't know. I don't care. But do you know who?
So what you bring it up for?
Do you know who filled in for him while he was not on the field?
Who?
Defensive coordinator Quinn. Suited up in pads and took his position. I don't care.
Guess who we got on the phone right now?
Who? We ain't got nobody on the phone.
What's up, dude?
What's happening?
Who is this?
Is that San Diego Jack?
It's San Diego Jack, baby.
Good to hear from you, brother. Good to hear from you, man.
What's happening? How y'all doing?
We taping. You know what we doing?
Oh man, that's what you guys do.
Did you know San Diego Jack just became a producer on the Patreons?
Junior.
Sure did.
You the man. You always have been the man. He was our security at the first event we went to.
Junior has one of those.
Right.
one of those guys where you just want to hang out
You
with.
have to, man, because he
Because
has fun.
you know,
You're going to enjoy
but
yourself.
you know you're taken care of
Oh,
if
yes.
San Diego Jack is in the house.
He didn't let anybody around
No.
us. And he was mean mugging folks that was walking up. He's like, who is that? You know them? They just walking up to speak, Junior. All right. He just standing there and look at him. I'm like, this dude here, man, he wasn't playing the game, dude. I was like, look at him. And then we went to Waffle House afterwards.
Hey, so ask San Diego Jack, what's the name of his new business?
He said, what's the name of your new business, bro?
I work for Pinheiro Construction during the day.
Yeah, but what's his business?
Your business.
I do. And that's my commercial job, what I do in the morning. And then my personal business that I just opened for after work and weekends is called BR Drywall.
BR Drywall. And if you're in
BR
Southern California, you got to call this dude up if you need any. Actually, he says drywall, but I've seen his work.
Everything.
He can do anything. But drywall's a specialty.
Remodeling.
You got a guy sitting over there smoking a stick, looking mad because you left and didn't do his back of his house.
Who's that?
Larry.
Larry. No, he wanted me. Yeah, he wanted me to do some work. What's up, Larry? Miss you, brother.
How you doing, Larry?
Junior.
Yeah, so you
Yes,
guys
sir.
don't even know. I mean, I can't think of anybody else that does perfection like San Diego Jack. I mean, yeah, that dude, I mean, he came to Texas and was like, I can't believe how everybody's doing work here. And it's like, the difference between what you do and what we do is we do good enough and you do perfection.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Southern California area, you should be
Have
calling
to,
this
man.
dude up if
Have
you need
to.
any house stuff,
Have to.
remodeling, sheetrock, paint. If you need your dog walked,
Man,
I'd call that
if
dude.
you need your toilet fixed right, you call
Hey,
Junior.
I need him right now. So, well, hey guys, that's going to wrap up the end of this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time,
Keep smoking.
boom.